Welcome to X Confessions Unlocked, where X secrets spill, revenge gets served, and sometimes X's come crawling back. Subscribe now for real, unfiltered stories about love gone wrong, and sometimes very right. Drop a comment with your X drama. Yours could be next.
I should have run the second I saw him, but I didn't. Instead, I stood frozen in the cereal aisle of the grocery store, gripping a box of oatmeal like it could save me. 3 years. 3 years since I'd disappeared, changed my name, and started over. And yet there he was, Damon Cole, leaning against a shopping cart like he owned the world. His eyes locked onto mine, and that smirk, the one that used to make my stomach flutter, curved slowly across his lips. "Zara," he said, my old name rolling off his tongue like honey. "Long time no see." My heart hammered so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. I dropped the oatmeal and bolted. But Damon wasn't the kind of man you could outrun. 3 years ago, I vanished in the middle of the night, no note, no warning. I took everything from him. Now he's found me. And he wants payback. I met Damon at a charity gala. Back then, I was a struggling therapist fresh out of grad school, and he was the charming millionaire who donated more money in one night than I'd make in a lifetime. He swept me off my feet. Literally. I tripped in my heels, and he caught me before I hit the floor. His hands were warm, his smile even warmer. "Careful," he murmured, pulling me close. "Wouldn't want you to break before I get to know you." I should have known right then that Damon Cole was dangerous. But danger has a way of feeling exciting when you're lonely. We married 6 months later. At first, it was perfect. Fancy dinners, private jets, vacations where the staff knew his name before we even checked in. But then the little things started slipping. The way he'd flirt with waitresses right in front of me. The way he'd get angry if I talked to another man. The way he'd say, "You're overreacting, Zara," every time I called him out. And then one night, he dropped the bomb. "I think we should try an open relationship," he said casually, like he was suggesting we order takeout. I choked on my wine. "What?" He shrugged. "It's just sex. Doesn't mean anything." I should have said no. But Damon had a way of making no sound ridiculous. So I said yes. And that's when everything fell apart. The open relationship wasn't open for me. Oh, Damon slept with whoever he wanted, models, interns, even my hairstylist once. But the second I even looked at another man, he lost it. "You're mine," he'd growl, gripping my wrist too tight. "You don't get to play this game." I realized too late that it was never about freedom. It was about control. So I started planning my escape. I siphoned money from our accounts, little by little. I packed a go bag and hid it under the bed. I even faked a therapist's note saying I needed solitude for mental health. And then on the night of his 35th birthday, while he was drunk and passed out next to some woman whose name he wouldn't remember, I ran. I left my wedding ring on the nightstand. I took the cash, my passport, and one thing Damon would never forgive me for stealing. And then I disappeared. I thought I was safe. I changed my name to Leah Fisher, moved to a tiny town in Oregon, and started working at a local clinic. I kept my head down. I didn't date. I didn't make friends. But Damon wasn't the kind of man who let things go. And now he's here. Standing in my grocery store. Smiling like he's already won. I ran out of the store, jumped into my car, and sped home. My hands shook so badly I could barely unlock my apartment door. But when I stepped inside, my blood turned to ice. On my kitchen counter sat a single red rose. And a note in handwriting I'd recognize anywhere. "Did you really think I wouldn't find you?" I grabbed my phone to call the police, but then it buzzed. A text from an unknown number. A photo. Of me. Sleeping. Last night. The message underneath made my stomach drop. "You took something from me, Zara. And I always get back what's mine." I stared at the photo on my phone, my breath coming in short, sharp bursts. The angle was clear. Someone had been inside my apartment while I slept. The thought made my skin crawl. I checked the locks again, my fingers trembling. All secure. But if Damon wanted in, locks wouldn't stop him. I needed to think. First, I called the only person I trusted, Amira, the nurse practitioner I worked with at the clinic. She picked up on the second ring. "Leah? You okay? You sound weird." "I need a favor," I said, keeping my voice low. "Can I stay with you tonight?" A pause. Did something happen? I swallowed hard. "I think my ex found me." Another pause, longer this time. Then firmly, "Pack a bag. I'll text you my address." I threw clothes, cash, and my backup ID into a duffel bag, then hesitated. There was one more thing I needed, the reason Damon was really after me. Hidden in a slit inside my mattress was a USB drive. 3 years ago, before I left, I copied everything: bank records, emails, recordings of Damon admitting to tax fraud, bribes, even whispers of something darker. At the time, I told myself it was insurance. Now, it was the only thing keeping me alive. I shoved it into my bra, where it pressed against my ribs like a second heartbeat. Then I bolted. Amira lived in a quiet duplex on the other side of town. She took one look at me, handed me a glass of wine, and said, "Start talking." So I did. I told her about Damon, the charm, the control, the way he made me feel like I was losing my mind. I told her about the open relationship, the double standards, the night I realized I had to run. But I didn't tell her about the USB. Some secrets were too dangerous to share. Amira listened, her frown deepening. "You need to go to the police." I shook my head. "He owns half of them." "Then leave town. Now." I wanted to. But something stopped me, pride maybe, or the stubborn refusal to let him win. "I can't," I said. "Not yet." Amira sighed. "Then at least let me help you set up cameras. And change your routine, different grocery store, different coffee shop. Assume he's watching." I nodded, but my stomach twisted. Because Damon wasn't just watching. He was playing. The next morning, I woke to my phone buzzing. Another unknown number. Another photo. This time, it was my car. Parked outside Amira's house. The message read, "Cute friend. Shame if something happened to her." My blood ran cold. I thought about Amira, kind, no-nonsense Amira, who had taken me in without hesitation. I couldn't drag her into this. I texted back, fingers shaking, "Leave her out of this." The response was instant, "Then stop hiding, Zara." I deleted the messages, but the damage was done. Damon wasn't just threatening me anymore. He was escalating. I spent the day at work on autopilot, jumping at every noise. By the time my shift ended, I was exhausted. Then I saw it. A black Mercedes parked across the street, Damon's favorite car. My pulse spiked. I ducked into a coffee shop, pretending to browse my phone while I watched the car in the reflection of the window. No movement. After 10 minutes, I slipped out the back exit and took the long way to Amira's, checking over my shoulder every few steps. When I finally got there, relief flooded me, until I saw the envelope taped to her door. My name was written on it in Damon's handwriting. Inside was a key. And a note. "You have 24 hours to return what's mine. Or I start breaking things you care about." I stared at the key, my mind racing. Because I knew exactly what it opened. The safe in our old penthouse, where Damon kept his darkest secrets. And he was daring me to come back. I held the key in my palm, its cold metal biting into my skin. Damon wasn't just taunting me, he was inviting me back into the lion's den. And the worst part? I was going. Because 3 years ago, I ran. This time, I'd make him regret finding me. Amira was out when I left, so I scribbled a note saying I'd be back by morning. A lie, but a necessary one. I couldn't risk her following me. I drove to the outskirts of town, where an old storage unit held the rest of my insurance, a burner phone, a fake ID even Damon didn't know about, and a .38 revolver I'd bought off a trucker 2 states over. I loaded it, tucked it into my waistband, and whispered, "No more running." Then I headed for the penthouse. The building hadn't changed. Same marble lobby, same doorman who recognized me instantly. His eyes widened. "Mrs. Cole." "Just visiting, Carl," I said, forcing a smile. "Don't announce me." The elevator ride up was suffocating. Every floor ding was a countdown to war. When the doors slid open, the penthouse loomed, all glass and shadows, exactly as I'd left it. Except for the whiskey glass on the counter. "Fresh. You're late." Damon stepped out of the bedroom, sleeves rolled up, that smirk playing on his lips. Like this was a game. Like he'd already won. I didn't flinch. "You wanted to talk?" "Talk." He circled me, a predator sizing up prey. "Where is it, Zara?" "Gone." "Liar." His hand snapped out, gripping my wrist. "You stole from me. Nobody steals from me." I yanked free. "You mean the proof you bribed a judge? Or the recordings of you threatening that CEO?" I laughed, cold and sharp. "Or were you more worried about the other files? The ones with the girls' names?" His face darkened. Bingo. I'd suspected for years. The way women disappeared from his circles. The hushed phone calls. The locked drawer in his office I'd only found by accident. But the USB held the proof. Damon's grip on my arm tightened. "You have no idea what you're playing with." "I know enough." I stepped closer, our breaths mixing. You didn't just want me back for the files. You wanted to silence me. His smile turned vicious. And yet here you are. Alone. Am I? A beat of silence. Then, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the penthouse. Damon cursed, fumbling for his phone. I didn't move. I'd memorized every inch of this place, including the breaker box by the terrace. A click. A muffled groan. Then Amira's voice cut through the black. Leah now. I lunged for the safe, key in hand. Damon snarled, grabbing for me, but someone, yanked him back. A scuffle. A crash. The safe opened with a whisper. Empty. Looking for this? Damon's voice was suddenly right behind me. I spun, but it was too late, his arm hooked around my throat, squeezing. You should have stayed gone. Black spots danced in my vision. Then, the gunshot echoed like thunder. Damon's grip loosened. I stumbled free, gasping, as the lights flickered back on. Amira stood in the doorway, her hand steady around my revolver. Damon clutched his shoulder, blood seeping through his fingers. His laugh was ragged. You missed. Amira's smile was ice. Did I? The USB was gone. The safe was empty. And Damon? He'd planned for everything, except Amira. As he bled on the floor, I crouched beside him. You'll never find it, I whispered. Because it's already where it needs to be. His eyes burned with fury. This isn't over. I stood, stepping over him. Yes, it is. Amira and I left him there, the penthouse doors locking behind us. The elevator descended in silence, my hands shaking. You okay? Amira asked. I exhaled. Not yet. But I would be. Because the USB wasn't just insurance anymore. It was a time bomb. And Damon's empire was about to blow. 3 weeks later. The news broke on a Tuesday morning. I was sitting in Amira's kitchen, stirring honey into my tea with shaking hands, when the notification popped up on my phone. Prominent businessman Damon Cole arrested in connection with financial crimes, ongoing investigation into missing persons cases. The mug slipped from my fingers, shattering on the tile. Amira came running, took one look at the screen, and wrapped me in a hug so tight I couldn't breathe. It's over, she whispered. But we both knew better. 1. The USB. I'd mailed copies to 3 investigative journalists 2 days after the penthouse confrontation. Not dramatic. Not cinematic. Just plain manila envelopes with printed labels, dropped in different mailboxes across town. 2. The evidence. It wasn't just financial crimes. The files contained GPS coordinates, hotel receipts, and encrypted chat logs linking Damon to 3 unsolved disappearances. Enough for probable cause, not enough for certainty. 3. The arrest. They took him at his office. No dramatic shootout. Just 2 detectives waiting by his car in the parking garage. His lawyer had him out on bail within hours. My life now. I kept the gun but moved states again. Changed my name to Elise Harris. Work at a small-town medical billing office. Still check my locks 3 times before bed. A Damon situation. Out on $2 million bail. Case dragging through courts. His Instagram shows him golfing in the Bahamas like nothing happened. The women. 2 families came forward after the news broke. Their daughters had been interns at Damon's company. No bodies ever found. Amira. We don't speak anymore. Too dangerous. Last I heard, she took a travel nursing assignment in Alaska. A postcard arrived yesterday. No return address. Just a photo of a Costa Rican beach and 2 words in familiar handwriting. Still looking. I burned it in the sink. The ashes swirled like confetti. Real life doesn't wrap up neatly. Some monsters walk free. Some victims never get justice. But we survive anyway. What would you have done differently?